In this video, we're trying something I've never done before, and that is weaving with paper. So let's get started. Weaving with paper is certainly not new. I feel like probably a lot of people got started weaving with construction paper in school, but I've never done it before, as far as I know. Maybe I did it in school, I don't know, but I thought it would be fun to try. So I do have my paper cutter here and some cardstock, and I've already kind of tested out cutting different widths of the paper. Now, we could really take a deep dive with this, and I think that's probably what's so fun about it, because you could have different widths of the paper and combine those, and maybe we'll try that today. I kind of just want to play around and try a bunch of things so we can see what this would be like. So my intention with weaving paper is to put the finished little weavings onto cards. I thought that would be a great way to combine weaving and card making. So we're just gonna go for it because that is what we do here. For the first one, I only have 3 different colors of cardstock currently. Colors, I say loosely. So I have sort of a natural brown cardstock, I have a white, and I have a black. Now my mind goes to plaid when I see these colors, so I'm wondering how I can combine them. And I mean, I could get grid paper out and I could color grid paper in, but for me, I really enjoy just trying things out. And because this is paper, it's pretty low investment. I only have 2 sheets of each of these papers. I have more if I need them, but the reality is, even if I make something and I don't love it, I could take it apart or I could just try again because it is paper. Now, you don't have to use brand new cardstock for this. You could literally cut up old cards. You could use magazines. Like, there's lots of different ideas. Even cardboard might work if it's flexible enough. And you could really do a deep dive with this. So looking at these strips, I have a 1/4 inch strip and a 1/2 inch strip. And I'm kind of wondering about doing a combination of those two. So I need to decide, actually maybe what I'll do is I'll start with the brown, and I'm going to cut a few 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch strips of this as well. And I did just put a new blade on my cutter because it was seeming a little bit dull. And so that's one thing you want to keep in mind if you have something similar to this, is just, or your scissors, make sure they're really nice and sharp so you can get a cleaner cut. All right, so now I just want to play around. What I was thinking is this would actually be an opportunity to have like the warp, which is the vertical papers in this case, be 2 different sizes, and then also have the weft be 2 different sizes. Now, we are going to tape these down when I actually start, but for now, let's just see what we can do here and just see what things look like. So if I did, let's go this way and then go, oh my gosh. It's difficult when you're not, when you haven't like secured the warp yet. Okay, so then that, and then another one like this. I think I did that the opposite of what I should have. Let's try taking this piece under this way, because I'm kind of imagining a bit of a plaid situation, and I'm trying to figure out how that would translate. Just for good measure, let's bring in this one. So far it seems like, is that just creating stripes? Let's cut a few more, and I just want to like do this on a smaller scale before I decide what the pattern is actually going to look like. How do we feel about that? It's not really giving like the plaid that I thought it would. See, now what would happen if we didn't, oh, actually, I think I might know where I went wrong. I think with a plaid, typically the order and thickness of the vertical stripes kind of matches the horizontal stripes. So that's probably what's happening here. So let's take this out. And let's cut more black, 1/2 inch, and then some brown, 1/4 inch. Okay, let's go ahead and try that. So we're gonna start with the black, then we're gonna go in with the brown, and I'm just doing essentially plain weave. So now I'm going under, over, under, over, under, over. You can see why you need to like tape down the ends, and maybe I should just do that. Okay, now I'm just playing. I'm thinking about bringing the 3rd color in because, I don't know, I feel like it's just a little bit more boring than I wanted it to be. So let's try bringing in some white. I'm gonna do white 1/2 inch, I think. This is a very stark white, so I don't know if I'm gonna love it, but I don't know. We're kind of just playing around, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't want to invest in a bunch of new materials when I don't have a good idea if I even like a new technique or something like that. So we're just going with what I've got. So let's trying out the white. Oh, but what if I should do black? Yeah, let's just do the brown. Okay, so that's an option. I almost feel like, okay, let's take these out. Now I want to test out what would happen if instead of thin brown, I went with the thin black. That's kind of fun. It's got like more of a checkered feel. Oh, and I can see I did this one. Let's just take this off for a sec. Painter's tape comes in really handy for this because I don't think it'll rip at the paper. I kind of like that. Now, do I wish that there was more black showing than the white though? Because the white is really stark. So what I could do instead is just reverse this. So I could start going over, under, over, under, over, under. So then now we're seeing, is that actually more black? Let's find out. Oh yeah, it definitely is. I kind of like that better, but I think what I would like even more is if actually these skinny strips were the white and then these thick strips were the brown. So just kind of reversing it a little bit so that I have the least amount of white, simply because I'm feeling like the white is very, very stark. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and try that. I think it's a fun pattern and we're just gonna give it a go. First of all though, let's figure out the size that we want for the card. This is a pretty small card that I have. Is it a 4x6? Not even, 4 by 5.5. So I could probably go a little bit wider with this yet. So if I did this and a skinny one and then another thick one, so opposite. Yeah. So I'm going to need a scrap piece of paper. So we're gonna change the skinny ones out to white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1/4 inch white. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2 inch black, which I already have. So I actually don't even need to write that down. And then I need to cut a bunch more of the 1/4 inch brown, right? Okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna switch out the brown for white and the white for brown. So I need a 1/2 inch brown. And then 1/4 inch white or black. Wow. Okay. I don't know why that was so confusing to my brain, but like it was. So I'm gonna set aside my 1/4 inch brown because I'm not going to be using those. I need a bunch of 1/2 inch brown. I have enough. Okay, I'm gonna take this apart now. Okay, so it actually did kind of wreck the paper. So I guess keep that in mind. This black that I currently have is a really, really heavyweight cardstock. So it looks like it kind of just took the first layer off of it, which is not a big deal. I'll just not use that part. My card is much shorter anyway, so it's not really a big deal. Okay, I'm gonna leave this together for now, but I'm gonna cut some 1/4 inch white first. I need 5 of those. So now I have my 1/4 inch white for what's gonna be my warp. So now I need to cut more of these 1/2 inch brown and 1/4 inch black. Okay, I'm gonna call that good for now, and I'm gonna get started weaving. So I'm gonna take this apart, and I know that I want alternating black and skinny white strips this time for the warp. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these and set those aside. The other thing I noticed when I cut the paper, it kind of makes it so one side seems nice and the other one doesn't. And I don't know if you can tell, this is kind of the bad side and this is the good side, because basically when I cut it with this particular cutter, it kind of like rolls over the edge just slightly. That's the best way I can explain it. So I wanna make sure that I'm putting every piece the correct way so that I have like the nice side up. So we're gonna go alternating black and white for our warp. So that's our vertical papers. I keep wanting to say strings, but it's not strings. Now I'm just gonna flip this because I wanna tape it down here, but I wanna weave bottom to top because I'm used to that and it feels very wrong not doing it that way. So I'm gonna push these close together. And I'm gonna bring out my card again to make sure that I'm not going too big with this. I think that'll be okay. So now I just wanna very carefully line everything up so that it's pretty straight. Now I'm going to be able to cut off some of the excess because obviously this is much longer than my card. So that's totally fine. Things don't have to be absolutely perfect, which is kind of better. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tape these down. And then I'm gonna get started with weaving. So I'm gonna start with, now I wish I would have taken a picture of what I had just done. Okay, we're gonna go over, under. We're going over all the white and under all the black for this first row, just like that. Is that what I wanted? Or do I actually want the opposite so I see more of the brown? Let's try it the other way. So under all the white, over all the black. Then I'm gonna grab one of the skinny black ones and I'm gonna do a few rows. If I don't like it, I can change it. So there's that. And I want to also keep in mind, I'm gonna keep this up just a little bit because I need some excess on the ends. I don't know how I'm finishing this is basically what I'm trying to say. So this next row is going over all the white, under all the black. And then we'll go back in with the brown. Again, under all the white and over all the black. I feel pretty good about that. I'm just gonna keep going and see what it looks like once there's more rows in, because I feel like you can't fully tell what it's gonna look like until you do that. Now, it's what's interesting of what's happening, much like with when we're weaving with yarn, is that I'm overcrowding my warp essentially. You know, we can't really do like an arch so that the paper is truly going over and under like this. So what's happening is my warp, you can see it's kind of like sitting up like this. And I think that's, in this case, because it's paper, it's gonna be totally fine. But the tricky part's gonna be how do we finish all the edges nicely. So another one of the brown, under all the white and over all the black. Is this what I wanted? Okay, just for fun, I wanna try it the other way around. So I'm gonna weave up here the opposite way, just to see what it might look like. Okay, one more thought. One more thought, you guys. What would happen if both the brown and the black were thick and only the warp was thin? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go with what I had. So let's go back to this part. I feel like there are so many variations of this you could do that my brain is like, is this the best one? But it's like, sometimes I think you just have to pick something and go with that and know that you can make more. Sometimes decision paralysis is, or I don't even know, is it perfectionism that can kind of be detrimental to your creativity because you're constantly trying to find the best thing instead of just playing around and knowing that you can always make another thing. You can always try again. You can always take this apart and try again. If you're like, no, I don't want to waste those materials on something I didn't love, you can always take it apart and just try it again. I'm really interested to see / figure out how I'm going to finish this nicely. There's definitely going to have to be some glue involved. Uh-oh. The nice thing about the paper is, unlike a warp, it's not secured, so I can just slip the warp back into where it needs to be. I don't want to leave too many gaps between either my warp or my weft, but some of them are kind of inevitable. See, I feel like on these ends, I'm gonna have to glue these down so that they don't just want to pop up like this, which makes me wonder if I should have started and ended with some of the thinner pieces. Let's see. Let's just see if that helps. See, it doesn't actually help because you either have the thin ones sticking up or the thick ones sticking up. But so now I just need to decide which is less annoying. I think it's gotta be the, Can I squeeze one more 1/4 inch in there? Let's see. No, let's move them this way. So now I'm just trying to squish things closer together so that I can fit one more thin black on this end, because it would be nice if it was like symmetrical. So I'm gonna slip this one over here. I'm wondering if this would almost be better with thinner paper, even though it might be harder to work with. It might, I need to go this way. It might help it sit a little bit flatter. I'm not totally sure, but I still really like the way this is looking. Oh my gosh, why am I so bad at this? Okay, so then this could go on the card like this. Now, how do I finish this? Is it square? Not quite. Whoa, there's the reverse, which is also kind of cool. But how do I finish this? That's my next question. My thought is to just kind of cut off all the excess and then see what happens, which might be a little bit sketchy, but it also kind of seems like I don't know how else I would finish that, and then just glue the whole thing down to the paper. I could also consider like a double-sided tape kind of situation, but let me grab my cutting mat and we're gonna just see what we can figure out. I feel like it's not perfectly square, and that's just gonna have to be fine. So what will fit on here? That doesn't leave me a lot of wiggle room. Is that even gonna stay together? Let's cut off the side first. So I'm basically gonna leave myself about a 1/4 inch on each side, and I'm gonna hope for the best. Okay, that worked pretty good. But that's definitely where I'm struggling with the top and the bottom, that I might have to take some rows out to make it work. Maybe I could just take, yeah, let's see. So if I'm gonna have, okay, I think I'm gonna take one of these and one of these out. So it's still symmetrical, but now it's a little bit smaller, and I think I need it to be so that it'll fit properly on the card. And I'm just gonna, again, cut with about a 1/4 inch left at the end. It's interesting because the edges now obviously have kind of a different look, but I don't mind it. I think it looks kind of nice. Okay, so now we have this finished piece that I could put on the card. And obviously, like, you could even add more to a card like this, but I do think that there's something really fun and pretty about this texture. And now I'm debating on what type of glue to use, because at first I was gonna use like more of a paper glue, but there is some texture happening. So I'm kind of tempted to actually use hot glue, which is kind of my go-to, as you know. But I do just think that that might be better. So I'm gonna go get my good hot glue gun because I'm very tired of using my old one. So let me grab that, let me heat it up, and then we'll get gluing. Looks like this has sufficiently heated up. Now, the one thing I will say is I find this type of hot glue gun heats up way more than my other one ever did. And here we go. See, it might actually be a mistake to have something that's gonna dry kind of quickly. Don't yell at me. I probably should have just been patient and used the like paper glue instead of hot glue. But the reality is I'm impatient, so that's why I'm doing this. Oh no, yeah, see, it's gonna squish out a little bit. Ow, I should be wearing gloves. I didn't quite get it centered. I might just cut off one end to make it centered. And if anyone out there has woven with paper before and you have any tips for the edges, I would love to know what those are. Because when I was kind of looking this up, I didn't find a whole lot. And sometimes it's best just to go straight to the source and ask you guys. Okay, so here is my little card with the woven paper. You can kind of see the texture. And then when you open it up, there's nothing. I like that gluing it means that there's nothing showing on this side. The next thing that I want to try is weaving a basic twill pattern with paper, and I think this one will work really nicely. But I need to figure out how many warps and how many wefts I'm going to need. So I'm actually gonna base that, I think, off of this one. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're gonna go with 12. Yes. Okay, so what I'm gonna do in this case, this is another one of our free patterns that you can find at spruceandlinen.com. I will do my best to remember to put the link for this pattern in the description box below, but I want to have this with only 12 warp strings. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut up this pattern so that it can work accordingly. All I need is actually this very edge, just so it can be symmetrical. 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12. So you can see I've just made it smaller. I'm just gonna use some painter's tape to hold these together. So now we have our little pattern, and we need to make sure that we have enough of our warps and wefts. So I'm gonna use 1/4 inch again. And what I'm thinking, I have all these half pieces of black, so maybe I can use those as my weft. So I'll have plenty of black for now, and I just need to make sure I have enough of the white. So now I'm just going ahead and lining up all of my warp papers and double checking that it's gonna fit on the card, and it is. So I'm gonna grab a new piece of painter's tape and tape these all down. And now we're ready to get started weaving. We can go ahead and grab our little pattern, which is this. And one thing that's really helpful when you're weaving patterns is to grab another piece of paper and just cover up the other rows so that you don't have to get confused. All the colored in blocks are representing going over a warp string, or in this case, a warp paper, and the white ones will represent going under the warp paper. So for this first row, we're going over 3, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 3. Now I can move this up to the next row, and this time we're going under 1, over 1, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, and then under 2. And we're gonna stack those right on top of each other and then move to the next row. So this one is over 1, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, oops, over 2, under 2, and then over 1. And then the last row is under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 1, under 1. So that's the whole pattern. So basically all I'm gonna do now is go back to row 1 and just keep weaving that over and over again until I've woven as much as I want to weave. Okay, so I actually think I wove one too many rows. I'm gonna go ahead and actually remove this row because I need a little bit more room for the edges. So I'm gonna go ahead and slip that out. And I'm gonna finish this just like I did the other one, and I'm hoping that that will work nicely. Just like the other one, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this with about 1/4 inch of allowance, essentially all the way around. And I am going to be gluing this down. Okay, let's just go for it. That's my motto, I hear. Ah, no. Oh, that was too, okay. Okay, Janelle. Going a little crazy. We're kind of committed now. Okay, that actually worked pretty good. So the thing I like to do when I use hot glue is to just really make sure that if there's any bit of hot glue sticking out, I'm doing my best to get that out of there, particularly while it's still warm, because it's usually easier that way. And sometimes, you know, there might be a couple little flaws like one that I just created here, but it's not the end of the world. All right, they're all done. So let's have a look at the finished cards. Okay, I think these are pretty fun, and let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite. If you liked this video, check out this one next.